We're just talking, trying to remember when the last time was we did this. It's been a while. So if we're out of shape and out of practice, we apologize in advance.
Governor, Seti Warren asked that you send the National Guard down to Puerto Rico. Have you given that any thought, and what do you say to that?
Well, I learned a lot about the way emergency management response works during the blizzards in 2014. And there's actually a national collaboration between all 50 states' emergency response programs that's managed by the federal government. It's called EMAC. And we stand ready, as we have with every disaster that's happened since we took office, to respond in whatever way the EMAC implies that we should respond. And that means sending certain kinds of skilled expertise that they either don't have or can't get from somewhere else to Florida or to Houston or to Puerto Rico. But our goal is to make sure we're doing what the people on the ground there who are managing the disasters say they want us to do. And nobody's suggested from there that sending the National Guard from Massachusetts would be helpful. What most of them have said is donations to either the Red Cross or to organizations you can find on a website called, it's the organization, the umbrella name of the organization is Voluntary Organizations Active in Disasters, because cash can be converted quickly into exactly what they're looking for if they're working their stuff on the ground. And the most important thing is if you send cash to these organizations, they can turn it around and invest it in the communities that are desperately trying to get back on their feet. And that, at this point, is the thing that they say they need most.
Have you had any conversations with anyone in Puerto Rico, your counterpart, the governor down there?
I've tried calling the governor of Puerto Rico, but the problem is because the grid is down completely and cell service is extraordinarily limited, most of his phone calls are coming in and going out on a satellite phone that's being used primarily to communicate with FEMA and with the other organizations that are directly involved in the disaster response. My wife actually the governor's wife, who's a friend of my wife's, used that phone to call my wife and talk to her about this whole issue associated with the fact that the most important thing they need right now is not goods, because in many cases they can't dock them, they can't store them, it's raining, it's humid, it's hot. What they really need more than anything is for people to invest in these disaster relief organizations that can convert cash into goods and supplies and support, and are good at it and have done it before.
Just so you'll know, the chairman is family in Puerto Rico. Helps with that answer.
Why don't you ask somebody that really knows what they're talking about?
Well, first off, how's your family?
I don't know. We don't know. Roads are mudslided out. Communication lines are down. We hear that there's still people on their roofs waiting to be rescued, that they're living on their roofs. Worried about mudslides, and it's an island. It's raining, and the apocalypse hit Puerto Rico, and Puerto Rico is screaming for help. And people are worried that their calls won't be heard. Unfortunately, this isn't garnering the attention that it should deserve right now.
Are you satisfied with the system that the governor was just talking about, that coordinating all of this?
I think it's a piece of it. But there's a lot that communities want to do to help. The challenge that we have is that people in our communities don't understand the infrastructure that's established. So in the meetings that I've been to, from Springfield to here in Boston, people just they don't understand the system. So it's incumbent upon us to communicate that and relay that the best way to help the people of Puerto Rico is to make sure that we're engaging organizations that are reputable, that are on the ground to help people out there. The need is great, and at the same time, there are challenges with a lot of the organizations, because you need to make sure that you're investing in the right organizations to make sure that the majority of the resources that you're investing are going to where the need actually is. But what's happening also is just there's a significant number of events that have happened throughout the course of the weekend that tried to bring water, dried goods, canned goods. But at the end of the day, everybody has a question, how do we get this stuff down there? And it's not clear, as the governor mentioned a moment ago, so that's where you'll hear folks say, well, what can you do? Because that's, I'm getting that. What are you doing to make sure that the government, not just the governor, here in Massachusetts is supporting Puerto Rico in a real way?
How much of your family is still there, and do you know where they are?
I mean, we know where they are in terms of the proximity, but it's difficult to get a message. Like, I have a friend that lives in the Bayamón area, and the Bayamón area, although it was hit pretty hard, the Bayamón and San Juan has the one or two towers that are up. I received a phone call from a friend this morning saying that his son was going to go down to the town where my father's family is. I'm sorry, my father's passed away, but where my father's family is. And I asked if they could take a look in particular places, but it's hard at Puerto Rico because Puerto Rico's not like here in Massachusetts. People live in the mountains and in the hills and in little hamlets, and to tell them take kilometer 38 to kilometer 44 and go up the hill, it's a little difficult to explain to people where. So I'm literally taking Google snapshots on Google Maps and then drawing on the map on my phone to show people where where a few of my family members are. But even at that, I don't know if they're going to be able to reach them because some of them don't. Some of them live in challenging places, and those that live in the middle of town, it's really hard to get into the towns. The town where my father's family is from, was settled in 1517. There are dirt roads all over these, in some of these towns. The town of Bonito is on a mountain, and nobody can get up and nobody can get down. So we're all worried.
Would you like to see the U.S. federal government do more? Can they be doing more?
The United States citizens of Puerto Rico are calling for help and are crying for help. And the federal government has an obligation to the United States citizens of Puerto Rico. Period. The United States citizens of Puerto Rico. There needs to be an immediate waiver call so that when those ports are open, that we won't have to go through some bureaucratic law that keeps boats out of Puerto Rico, either repealing full or parts of the Jones Act to make sure that we're able to get help to people, and so that we can get so that people in Puerto Rico can get the infrastructure up as quickly as possible.
That's actually, you guys know what the Jones Act is? Okay. That's really, that'd be a worthwhile thing to explore and advocate for, because if they have to go somewhere else, those vessels have to go someplace else before they can ship directly to Puerto Rico to deal with their problems. That's just lost time. Being able to go directly there and unload directly on the island would be a big win.
This isn't the first time that this has come.
Last question, guys.
Well, Governor, are you satisfied with the federal response to the hurricanes that hit Puerto Rico?
Well, I've been following the response of the federal government to all three events. For me, it's hard to tell on the Puerto Rico side simply because there's so little information that's currently available from there. But I would certainly expect and hope that the response of the federal government to Puerto Rico, which is a U.S. Commonwealth, would be the same or more significant given the nature of the hit that they took, that they delivered in Florida and in Texas.
Thank you.
Thank you.